What's going on, everybody? John here with MachMotorsport, and I am doing my 1 month review of ownership of my Civic TypeR. That's right. I have owned this for a month, and for those of you that have been watching, you'll know that I picked it up with a little over 6,000 kilometers on it, about 4,000 miles. And currently I have now put 6,523 kilometers on this vehicle since ownership, to be exact. Yes, that is a lot of mileage in a short amount of time. So I just wanted to kind of follow up and just talk to you guys just a little bit about, you know, the ownership and what I've experienced with the car, and, you know, what my thoughts are and all that other good stuff. So I hope the audio and the camera's okay, because this is a trial. I have not tried this before, so you'll have to bear with me, and I apologize if there are any technical issues. So, I have had this 2018 Civic TypeR for a month. It is my daily driver. I'm a realtor, and that is my career. And so I do a lot of mileage on this vehicle because naturally I'm always driving as a part of my job. But I actually do real estate in a little community, or in a little city in Brantford, Ontario, and I live in Stony Creek, Ontario. I know. So it's approximately a 40-minute drive to go from one location to another. But I've never really noticed, you know, an issue. The commute is not that bad. It's actually been pretty good, so I can't really complain. So, as far as the daily's concerned, and, you know, this is September 2019, so if you're watching this, I mean, the weather's nice. It's, you know, beautiful, 25 degrees currently today, generally sunny. There have been a few rain days I've driven this in, and I want to just say that all in all, my impressions of this vehicle are fantastic. I honestly am very impressed with this vehicle as far as the daily driver is concerned. And I believe I mentioned it even in my initial video when I picked up the vehicle, that if you really want a vehicle that does everything well, you can never go wrong with a Honda Civic. That is for certain. Now, because, you know, I am the type of person who does enjoy performance and does enjoy the spirited drive every now and again, having something that has a little more oomph and is capable at the racetrack was something that was very important to me. So I think it goes without saying that I'm, you know, looking for something that is definitely going to not only be a good daily driver and economical and reliable, but also be capable for those track events. So I haven't had it at a track event yet. I do plan on going to one very soon. It's going to be more of an open lapping day than an actual timed event, just because I want to just feel out the car. It's 100% bone stock, so I would really like to get a baseline on the car prior to actually competing in any sort of event, or even modifying the car. I'd really like to know where I stand. In my previous Subaru BRZ TS, it was completely prepared for track. If you guys have been following the channel, you know the car. And at our local racetrack here, Toronto Motorsports Park, I was able to do a best time of 123.1 or 122.7. I'll have to double check. But in any event, my goal is to basically take my stock Civic TypeR and to be able to best that time if possible. And I think I should be able to do that in stock form, I feel. So, going from a rear-wheel drive to a front-wheel drive, you know, there's going to be a bit of a learning curve there, but I'm sure I'm going to be able to get the knack of it. So, that's kind of my goal in terms of its track performance. Ideally speaking, if I could get this bone stock, you know, sedan to the kind of the level of a modified 8.6 chassis, I'll be, you know, pretty happy with that. And then, of course, as we modify this, you know, we'll see where things go from there. But I do have to say, I do enjoy merging on the highway with this vehicle over the BRZ any day of the week. So I do, you know, a mix of driving between highway and city driving, and with the mixed, you know, kind of fuel mileage, I'm typically sitting at around anywhere from 7.8 liters to 100 kilometers. to 8.4 liters, depending on how often I put it in, you know, sport or R mode or comfort, all that other good stuff. Generally speaking, I find myself driving this vehicle in many cases, especially on the highway, I find myself driving it in comfort mode. I don't know why. It just, you know, you're not looking for all-out performance and you're just cruising. A lot of times I set cruise control and I don't even really care. So, you know, it's okay. Very seldom, and I want to say seldom, since I've had the vehicle, do I find myself putting it in R mode. So, you know, truthfully, I think sport feels good enough. So, yeah, that's just my thought on that. Everyday living with the car. Well, I mean, it's got all the amenities you can want, and truthfully, I love all the nooks and crannies. I love all the pockets. I love all the storage cabins. I mean, super practical. This car is amazing in that regard. It's got plenty of seating. I've got kids. The kids get in the back without a problem. I just recently went to Portugal, and my son and I put our luggage in the trunk. No issues at all with our carry-ons. Didn't even need to fold the seats down. And I love the fact that this thing is a hatchback. So, you know, I would say, again, huge bonus and big, you know, definitely an A+ in terms of the practicality of this car. As far as economic, like as far as the economy of the car, it's been terrific. It's got a small tank, so it's got a smaller fuel tank in this vehicle than my WRX did. So I do find myself making more frequent stops to the gas station. However, that being said, I can't say that it's just slightly worse in fuel mileage than my WRX was. But again, given the performance, I'm not overly surprised, and it's not unreal. I find myself putting in, here in Canada, I go to Petro-Canada, I use Ultra 94, which I do find, and I've tested several different types of gasoline, types of 91, Shell, you name it. I do find Ultra 94 is the best combo in this car if you're living in Southern Ontario, Canada. And I find that generally from empty to full, when gas prices are reasonable, I'm usually spending about, I want to say about $55 to fill the tank, and that generally gets me about 530 kilometers to the tank. So, again, not terrible, especially for a car with this performance, and I just want to emphasize the fact that I do drive this car very spirited most of the time. So, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, what have I found in terms of, you know, the reliability? Well, I can't honestly say. I've had one oil change done on the car, and that wasn't because it was due from the service maintenance minder. It was only because I elected to do so. Being a new car to me, I wanted to make sure it had fresh fluids. I think that makes sense. So I just did a oil change and just a quick once over at my local Honda dealer, which is Brantford Honda. I used to actually work for them, but I mean, they're a great dealer. Customer service is fantastic, and if there's one thing I can say is they do have a huge staff of very knowledgeable technicians. So, you know, I enjoy going there, and I know that my car is in good hands there. So, you know, I haven't had any issues so far, like maintenance-wise. Everything's been good. The one thing I will say, but this is documented widely across the internet, is that on occasion I will get a first to second. If I'm going quick from first to second, I will just get a little buzz going in. And not, I don't want to say, I mean, obviously it's a grind of some sort, but it's not like a full-on like grind. It gets like a bzzzt in. I've, you know, read tons about it on the internet. I know it's a thing. You got to get the transmission up to temperature and all that other good stuff. So whether that's driver error or if that's actually a mechanical issue with the transmission, I'm kind of unaware, you know, what it could be at this point. However, at this particular moment, I'm not worried about it. I do have extended warranty on the vehicle. Should something happen, I'm covered for a long time, so I'm not terribly worried about that. Outside of that, with the exception of the little mishap that happened to my right rear door, which you'd see in a previous video, you know, I'm getting, it's going in, as of right now, it hasn't even gone into the body shop yet to get repaired, because apparently Honda in North America does not have the over fender, the right rear over fender in stock, and that's got to be replaced. So, and I refuse to have it repaired. I want it replaced. Being that this is a new car, I want a new piece. I think that's fair. I'm not overly thrilled at the idea that they're going to have to blend the quarters, blend the quarter and blend the door, but at the same time too, I'd rather it be done properly and match and be uniform across the board, rather than it look like a Harlequin Volkswagen of some sort. So anyways, aside from that, yeah, like this car has been perfect. Comfort wise, these seats, I mean, a few people have sat in them and have, you know, made note that they do find that the bolstering is a bit aggressive. I find I'm about 180 pounds. I'm an athletic frame guy. I work out, you know, and I do find that the seats hold me in actually quite well. I haven't taken it on any extended test drives or road trips, but I do want to say that the trips that I have taken this on, you know, this vehicle's been super comfortable. So all in all, I'm really impressed in terms of my ownership of this vehicle. I think that Honda's done a terrific job creating a vehicle that can provide you kind of best of all worlds. Is it going to be a hardcore race car? No. One of the things that I had to get over when getting this car, coming from a daily driven WRX that was bone stock, and then a Subaru BRZ that was modified specifically for the track, you know, it's not as hardcore. It doesn't have the hardcore suspension. It doesn't have all the rattles, and, you know, it doesn't have that hardcore feel. It doesn't have the stiff bushing, spherical suspension, you know, coilovers that are on you know, crazy spring rates. So and it's not noisy and buzzy because it's got factory exhaust. So that element of it is not there. You know, it's not, but then again, this is a daily driver, and you walk a fine line when you want to take a daily driven vehicle and modify it for competitive or even for occasional track use. You can compromise its daily driven comfort very quickly if you're not careful. So what Honda has done here is terrific. With the flick of a switch, I get more performance, I get tighter steering feel, and I get you know, that additional suspension, you know, dampens up, everything gets tighter, all of that stuff. And then I can just flip the switch down a couple of times, drive it home, get great fuel, you know, mileage, and drive this to the grocery store, pick up, you know, a bag of milk and the kiddies from school, and everything is great. And then do a showing later and meet with my clients. So yeah, like if you are looking for an, you know, best of all situations vehicle, I cannot emphasize how great this car is enough. I really can. So that is my 1 month in review. I'm giving this 2 solid thumbs up for 1 month of ownership, and, you know, like I said, I've put just over 6,000 kilometers on this, and I think that that's you know, it's been very impressive. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and as always, like and subscribe, and look out for the next video, I guess. I don't know, I'm stuck in traffic here.